Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and we have some new Aaron Rodgers trade news to discuss. On top of all of that, you guys know how I am. I'm a big where there was smoke, there was fire guy. And when you look at the comments that Raiders general manager Dave Ziegler made yesterday, and now with this new report out there around Rodgers, this should really grab a lot of Raider Nation's attention. So this literally just went down. Dov Kleiman tweeted out, update, a very important Packers source says that Aaron Rodgers will be back with the Packers this season, according to Jeff Darlington. The reason why the name Jeff Darlington should at least ring a little bit of a bell to people out there is because before Rodgers went on his darkness retreat, he went on the Pat McAfee show and he came out and he said, no disrespect to Rapoport, no disrespect to Adam Schefter. Those guys, they do their job really well, but at the end of the day, they don't know a lot about me. So he didn't mention Jeff Darlington. So when I saw this report came out, I started thinking to myself, okay, this might actually mean something. Then you pile that up with Dave Ziegler's comments. This is the exact reason why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report, because I'm just a normal diehard fan that is just going crazy trying to figure out what this team is going to do at the quarterback position. If they trade for Rodgers, I'm going to be here live 12 hours straight. If they don't, well, then you got to look at plan B. Now, this is the exact quote that Rodgers had to say on the Pat McAfee show last week before the darkness retreat. I have no problem with Ian Rapoport, Schefter. I think they're really good at their jobs. When it comes to me, they don't know shit. They really don't. They don't have people in my inner circle who are my sources. I can promise you that. He does not mention whether or not Jeff Darlington is or isn't, but I do expect that the fact that Darlington is saying this, who, by the way, is very well tied in with New England, and even though the Raiders aren't in New England, we know who the general manager, who the head coach are, and who multiple players, multiple coaches are. They have a lot of people from the Patriots, and I know Darlington is very well tied in with everyone up there in New England. So when I saw this report come out, I was like, man, this is really important to me. We will get into the latest odds around Rodgers and where his next team will potentially be, but I do have a question for every single person that comes across this video, and I'm going to make this the pinned comment. That means as soon as you hit this video, the number one comment that you're going to see on this that you got to answer is, where is Rodgers going to play? You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break right now, so scroll on down. Raiders LV, Packers GB. If you think it's somebody else, type O. I am going to continue to hope and pray that the Raiders figure out a way to get the four-time NFL MVP into the silver and black. He is coming off a little bit of a bad season in terms of his standards. 64.6% completion percentage, 3,695 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But if the Raiders don't get Rodgers, this is where I start to get nervous, because if he goes back to Green Bay, the next question I would have is, does that mean you're going to go out and try to get Jimmy Garoppolo? Are you going to look at getting somebody like, I don't know, Jacoby Brissett, who has past experience? There was a new report that came out today that said that this team might even look at Baker Mayfield because of his old ties before. None of those options give me a lot of confidence. Yes, you can hope that a C.J. Stroud falls to you at 7. It's not going to happen. To me, the only way that you're going to guarantee to get your quarterback is if you probably trade up to him number 3, unless you are content with taking a guy like Hendon Hooker in the second, potentially third round. The Raiders have a situation on their hands right now, and I do think that moving on from Derek Carr was the right thing. I will continue to sit up here, and I will say, moving on from Derek Carr is the best thing for this Raiders organization moving forward. But with that being said, you as an NFL team, general manager Dave Ziegler, head coach Josh McDaniels, you need to know what your plan exactly is, because in today's NFL, if you don't have a plan at quarterback, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, if you guys haven't already, you can always follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at MitchellRents365. I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to keep you guys up to date around this story when it happens. And when it does go down, we will. We got you covered here. So again, Aaron Rodgers, the new trade news around him is this one's flown in from Jeff Darlington. And it's simple. It sounds like, according to Darlington, he's talking to somebody close to Rodgers. And it sounds like Rodgers is going to stay with with Green Bay. This is just a report. It is just a rumor. Nothing is officially official. I will still hope that he becomes a future Raider, because to me, when I look at this roster is ready to win right now, which might scare some people off, but when you consider the fact of how many draft picks they have, 9 picks right now, going to have 11 after compensatory picks. Then you look at salary cap space, $48.4 million, third highest in the NFL as it stands right now. I know Devontae Adams would love to play with a guy like Rodgers. Darren Waller just a few days ago said that he would love to play with Aaron Rodgers. I know that Rodgers is a great quarterback, but there is something that does continue to pop up, at least the people who I talk to, in terms of concern of, you got Aaron Rodgers, who, let's face it, he's going to beat to his own drum, right? Like, you're not going to change Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to teach an old dog new tricks. And then you got Josh McDaniels on this side as well, who is basically the exact same thing as a head coach. Runs his system, does exactly what he wants. There might be some clashing going on right there. I was also told by a source that Rodgers, he wanted to play for the Raiders, and he didn't want to go back to Green Bay. The Packers have also, people close to their circle have said, hey, we would love to have Jordan Love as a starter. It's time to move on from Aaron Rodgers. This is the one thing, though, that I will continue to say. A lot of stuff's going to happen in the offseason, especially leading up to NFL free agency, and that's what I am going to do. I'm going to be here to give you all the updates that I possibly humanly have. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to talk to you about everything that I can around this team here. But where there is smoke, there is always a little bit of fire. So you get the report today from Jeff Darlington, and then the quote, which I'm going to read from Dave Ziegler from yesterday, and just like any general manager when they speak, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. So he said, we're in charge of filling the most important position on the team. This is what Ziegler said to NFL yesterday. There's some pressure that comes along with that, and however we fill it doesn't mean that we're going to have an immediate answer this year. So that's straight up Ziegler telling you that you might not have an immediate answer this upcoming season. Ziegler also said when the Raiders were 2-5 that Josh McDaniels was doing a great job, which definitely makes my job a little bit more difficult. But at the end of the day, we're going to continue to follow what happens here, and Vegas still has Rodgers to the Raiders as the favorite. They are still the top dogs out there at minus 200 odds. The Green Bay Packers, which I am checking right now, are at plus 250. I do always think Vegas knows, but a week ago, it was minus 500. And now it's minus 200 for the Raiders. If you're a big, let's get Aaron Rodgers to the Las Vegas guy, you should be a little bit nervous. Now, let's just say you weren't paying attention and you didn't answer my pinned comment. Before you leave today, that's what I want you to do. Let me know with your crystal balls, where is Rodgers going to play this upcoming season? LV for the Raiders, GB for the Packers, or if you think it's somebody else, let me know down in the comments.